All right. Welcome, everyone. Thank you for joining us for this afternoon's webinar. My name is Nadine from Bank of the Philippine Islands Digital Channels Group. But for this event, I'll be representing the University of the Philippines Technology Management Center. So this afternoon, we are presenting Tara, Let's Innovate, a webinar about innovation and digital transformation. Of course, by the University of the Philippines Technology Management Center 291 class in partnership with the Asian Institute of Management Aboitiz School of Innovation, Technology, and Entrepreneurship, also called ASITE. Now, we would like to thank our sponsor for this event, Vibe e-wallet by BPI, which you can download in Android and iOS and log in seamlessly using your BPI account. Enjoy rewards when you transact. We will now proceed with our first speaker from the Bangko Sentral ng Pilipinas to be introduced by Nino Escueta of Dito Telecom.
Hello everyone, good afternoon. All right. It's my honor and a privilege to introduce to you, he's regarded as one of the stewards of pioneering and responsive regulatory approach on technology and innovation. Director Mhel's career in the BSP, spanning decades of supervisory experience, has not only witnessed the dramatic advancement of technology in the Philippine financial sector, but more importantly, has played a key role in reshaping the regulatory mindset towards a more progressive approach on technology risk and innovation supervision. He has taken a highly critical and challenging role in the BSP. As a head of the department, primarily responsible for supervision of technology and the cybersecurity risk, including emerging technologies. He continues to spearhead various cybersecurity reforms aimed at enhancing the BSP cybersecurity oversight and supervision, as well as promoting a secure and cyber resilient financial ecosystem through close coordination and partnerships with industry associations, regulatory counterparts, and other relevant stakeholders. As newer technologies continue to revolutionize today's society, Director Mhel is yet again at the forefront of regulatory advancements in digital banking supervision and in the key areas of open finance, cloud services, and RegTech and SupTech. Ladies and gentlemen, allow me to introduce to you Director Mhel T. Plabasan, the Director for Technology Risk and Innovation Supervision Department of the Bangko Sentral ng Pilipinas.
Um, Thank you so much for this, to all the organizers, of course, UP Technology Management Center for this opportunity to share with you our experience, including our insights on the digital transformation and innovation that's taking place right now in the financial sector. I assume some of you may have already felt the impact of digital transformation in the financial sector, either in the form of, let's say, you may have already experienced the convenience of digital financial services, or probably you may have fallen victim to all of these scams or phishing attacks, or both probably. And for us in the BSP, I think innovation and digital transformation is really close to our hearts, because we see their potential when it comes to not only expanding access to financial services, but also when it comes to sustainable recovery post-pandemic. So again, speaking of impact, I would like to speak about the impact using real data, because in BSP, Ed knows this, that we are primarily data-driven and evidence-based. So if you are to compare account ownership between 2019 and 2021, end of 2021, it has significantly increased from 29 to 56%, as mentioned earlier, primarily driven by pandemic, because people had no choice really but to use their devices for let's say getting yung mga basic necessities, etc., or doing financial services, bills payments, etc. And one of the main drivers of the skyrocketing account ownership really is the number of e-money accounts and bank deposit accounts that were opened during between 2019 and 2021. And a lot of these transactions accounts, 79% of these accounts were primarily used for payment compared to 47% 2 years ago. And a lot of these accounts are also being used for savings. Now, we also saw that many Filipinos prior to 2019 are not using, let's say, internet or their devices when it comes to performing financial transactions. So they prefer the brick and mortar. So magbabayad lang ng Meralco, Pipila, etc. But because of the pandemic, so the pandemic primarily accelerated digital transformation of many businesses, including clients themselves, di ba? Wala nga tayong choice but to use digital channels to perform our day-to-day transaction. Now, another driver of digital transformation in the financial sector is really what we call this national strategy for financial inclusion. It's a whole of government approach when it comes to financial inclusion. So the ultimate objective really is to ensure that all Filipinos, adult Filipinos, including their families, have access to financial services, and that will make them essentially, di ba, to ensure that they are financially resilient, and so also to maximize economic opportunities. So again, as I mentioned earlier, it's a whole of government approach. So different government agencies are working together with the private sector, together with, let's say, multilateral organizations, to really expand financial inclusion. And among the strategies being utilized by the NSFI, or National Strategy for Financial Inclusion, is really to promote inclusive digital finance. And of course, it's also to empower consumers, di ba? So we need to empower them. We need to deploy massive consumer education, consumer awareness campaigns. It's also making sure that they have access to risk protection and social safety nets. And at the same time, one of the key strategies of NSFI is really to harness the financing ecosystem for the agriculture and MSME sectors. Kasi when we speak of economic recovery, di ba, hindi natin pwedeng kalimutan ng MSME and of course the agricultural sector. Now, we call this Inclusive Digital Finance 1.0, version 1.0. Why version 1.0? Because these are some of the earlier initiatives that were adopted by the BSP in collaboration with the private sector and other government agencies. So as you can see, we have been laying the groundwork for this, what we call vibrant digital finance ecosystem, as early as, I think, early 1999, I think, and early 2000. We have already been laying the groundwork. Nagkataon lang that the pandemic has accelerated everything. So the first initiative of our digital finance, inclusive digital finance 1.0, is really to democratize access to transaction accounts. So ang target natin dito, yung what we call the base of the pyramid, or yung mga nasa laylayan. So they can do, it's utilizing basic deposit account. So when we say basic deposit account, these are no frills, easy to open account, walang maintaining balance, because nga ang target is yung base of the pyramid, or yung nasa laylayan. And while we are promoting digital transformation, and at the same time I won't then call it cashless, but cash light society, it won't happen naman over time. That's why we are also, especially in some rural areas where there's no limited access to cash, di ba? Even ATMs, limited lang din yung deployment. That's why we allow the use of cash agents. We're in sari-sari stores, convenience stores, and even pawn shops in certain areas can be utilized to perform basic banking services or simple banking services. And of course, after that, syempre, we will go to the cash-light option. That's why together with the private sector, we created what we call the National Retail Payment System, which in essence allowed for the creation, or this gave birth to InstaPay and PesoNet, diba? Because of this, it's now very easy and convenient to move money from one bank account to another bank account that are maintained in separate institutions, di ba? But you have to pay a convenience fee, di ba? Ranging from, I think, 10 pesos to 50 pesos, depende sa institution that you are engaging. And of course, we are still developing a lot of initiatives, or a lot of channels to facilitate nga yung payment, like bills payment, including remittance as well. Now, when we saw that back in 2020, when we saw the potential of utilizing, when we saw how pandemic was able to revolutionize our payment system, so we embarked in this what we call digital payment transformation roadmap. So really, the objective of digital payment transformation roadmap, it has twin objectives. First is that by the end of 2023, 50% of our retail payments should be in digital form. And right now, I think by the end of 2021, we are already at, I think, 30%. A bit higher than 30%. And another objective of that particular roadmap is to ensure that 70% of adult Filipinos have access to transaction accounts, which they can use on their day-to-day transaction. And as I mentioned earlier, by the end of 2021, we are already at 56%. So we are 14% close to meeting the target, which is 70% by end of 2023. Again, because of all of the initiatives being undertaken by the BSP in collaboration with other government agencies and even the private sector. Now, after completing Inclusive Digital Finance 1.0, we are now in Digital Finance 2.0. So when we say Digital Finance 2.0, kumbaga, this is the next frontier of inclusive digital finance. That's why this has parang different set of initiatives to be able to further foster digital transformation, or to convert to further promote the usage of digital channels. Like, we are working with other government agencies para sa ating digital ID, because we all know the importance of facilitating, because I'm sure some of you in the banking sector know that how tedious and how painful sometimes yung the process of onboarding clients. And I think with digital ID, this would allow seamless onboarding of clients, and to be able to give them access to financial services. Again, you may have heard of central bank digital currency, because right now, we have two forms of currency. We have the bills and the coin. So the only way to go really is there will be a third form of currency, which is something that is in digital form. Hindi siya, not the cryptocurrency, but the currency, that the digital currency that is issued by the central bank and backed by the government. And we are starting a pilot on that together with other financial institutions. Again, the ultimate objective, we have a lot of initiatives on financial inclusion, but for this one, I think it's really more on the resilience and stability of our payment system. And another initiative as part of the Digital Finance 2.0 is, of course, you may have heard of open banking or open finance utilizing open API ecosystem. So this will enable access to customer permission data. So ang ultimate objective, again, is really to democratize access to financial services, so that we can customize these services to meet the requirements of the users. Not only financial services that are offered by banks. This may include in the future, investment. This may include insurance as well, and who knows, in the future pa din, pwedeng non-financial na din, and that's what we call open data na. So from open banking to open finance, and then ultimate to open data, and we have a roadmap for that. Now, I mentioned about the digital transformation roadmap earlier, and I think some of the I would just like to highlight here some of the enablers of that digital payment transformation roadmap. The first one is, of course, our digital banking framework. I'm sure narinig nyo na that the BSP has approved 6 licenses for digital. So we created a separate and distinct classification of banks. So the traditional classifications are commercial bank, thrift bank, universal bank. So we created really a separate classification, which is digital bank, that is focused on technology-focused digital, institutions, which means that the financial services that they are offering are processed digitally end-to-end. So dapat end-to-end yung process for them to be classified as digital banks. And another enabler of our digital transformation roadmap is what we call the regulatory sandbox. You may have heard also of the test and learn approach. Ano ba to? But because it's very difficult, but let's say, di ba, if you are on the side of the regulator, parang ang hirap that every time merong bagong technology or bagong use cases, that there are already available rules and regulation, di ba? It takes time before regulators are able to craft regulations, especially on emerging products and services. So to facilitate our interface with innovators, we call this the test and learn approach, wherein you can offer, or you may opt to offer your products or services in what we call in a pilot controlled environment, so that you can deal directly with the clients, and the regulators are part of this journey, so that they can also learn from these emerging technologies or emerging products and services. So there's really a framework for that on, let's say, when it comes to criteria, eligibility criteria, pilot parameters, testing parameters. So we have what we call we had adapted that particular framework. So previously kasi it's just an ad hoc framework. If you are familiar with GCash and Smart Money then and now PayMaya, previously kasi there's no rule or regulation covering e-money. We utilize what we call the test and learn approach, wherein we allowed before, back in I think 2004 or 9, yeah, I think 2004, we allowed GCash and Smart Money to operate the first mobile wallet in the Philippines. Again, in the interest of expanding financial inclusion. But we made it in a controlled environment wherein, yun nga, they are closely supervised to ensure that the risk associated with these products and services are also properly managed. Now, as in any digital transformation or digitalization or innovation, parating may downside. The downside, of course, is yung cybersecurity. I mean, the prevalence of cyber-related threats, etc. That's why the BSP is also, aside from fostering innovation and digital transformation, simultaneously we are also working on ensuring that our financial system is cyber resilient and secure. So ginagawa namin siya in the form of, let's say, regulations, diba? We need to make sure that we have a dynamic policy framework. We need to ensure that we are able to issue up-to-date regulations, standards, diba? That are able to address evolving threats, diba? Pabago-bago yung mga threats, from the skimming to phishing. Ngayon na, we have ransomware, distributed denial of service attacks. So all of these threats should be managed effectively by our supervised entities, and essentially we also provide guidance to them on how to manage this, and holistically as well, how to make their operations not only secure but also resilient. And we have embarked on several initiatives like the Financial Services Cyber Resilience Plan. So it's an industry level initiative to set the protocols when it comes to, kasi the possibility of several institutions can be subject to simultaneously to a cyber-related incident. That's why we need an industry-level resilience plan para merong protocols yung industry. And at the end of the day, we also need to build our capacity. So how do we cannot do things manually, diba? Especially if you're dealing with cybersecurity. That's why we embark on this what we call Project Asterisk. So it's really, and it's for launching by early next year. So the intention of this project really is to ensure that the cybersecurity supervision being undertaken by the BSP is also automated end-to-end. So that's why we invested really on this particular solution so that we can deal more quickly with cyber threats confronting the financial sector. And of course, we are also working with the industry. Again, there's a lot of collaboration when it comes to information sharing, when it comes to, again, I mentioned earlier about the need to constantly educate the clients or the consumers, diba? Sometimes, even if you tell them na to click on links, pag may offer, pag may 500 peso voucher, etc., they will give their credentials. So that's why there's a need really to constantly remind them so that we can prevent nga yung mga unauthorized transactions, etc., yung account takeover. Now, I think I'm on the last 3 or 4 slides of my presentation, and I would just like to share with you some of the our insights for 2023 and beyond when it comes to digital transformation, technology, and cybersecurity, at least within the financial sector. So it was very vivid in the video earlier, diba? That digital transformation is not just a competitive advantage. It has become a competitive necessity. When we say that it has become a competitive necessity, diba? Parang it's an issue of survival, di ba? We have seen some institutions that were not able to transform, that they close shop, di ba? They become, a lot of them become irrelevant, di ba? That's why it's important really to embrace digital transformation and to start chartering your digital transformation journey. At least a lot of the institutions have already started, especially the financial institutions that we supervise. Again nga, di ba? Sabi doon sa video earlier, 40%, di ba? Yung 40% of businesses may close shop if they do not embrace digital transformation so that they can meet the changing requirements, the changing needs of their clients. This one, sabi ko din, AI, artificial intelligence, blockchain, cloud, and big data are here to stay. Previously, a lot of them are evolving technologies, but now they have become actually mainstream, right? So, especially cloud, diba? We have seen how cloud was able to transform the financial sector, diba? Especially the smaller institutions which cannot afford to buy servers, to buy software solutions. That's why cloud is the best and the most affordable option for them. And a lot of institutions are now into AI, blockchain, and big data, not only for customer-facing interfaces or applications, but even sa back-end, even in fraud management, even in cybersecurity, we have seen the use of AI, machine learning, and big data. So they are not just here to stay, they are here already, and they have become mainstream already. Another trend that we see is that cashless drive hits a speed. Nakita naman natin while cash continues to be important in some economies, di ba? In some jurisdictions, wala na because of technology, because of the changing preference of the clients. All of this parang combined to really drive a cashless society. That's why a lot of efforts right now really are geared towards yun nga, digitalization, digitalization, digitalization. In fact, I think in Sweden there are a lot of shops and even in China that are no longer accepting cash. It has to be card or mobile payment. So, ganun yung I think 90% of their economy is already digital. So, sa case natin, we are only targeting 50% of the retail transactions to be digital by the end of 2023. Ito, digital-only banks pose a threat to traditional banking. We have seen this already. While it is good to that there are, I mean, especially for techie people, those that do not, personally, I do not want to queue, diba, just to pay my bills or just to deposit. So I would rather deal with an institution that is digital end-to-end. So that there are a lot of options. So with competition as well, I mean, people, the consumers are given several options, diba? If you're someone like me who prefers to do everything digitally, then there are digital-only banks that you can deal on a regular basis. But if you still want, let's say, brick and mortar, yung mas personalized na transaction with, let's say, with a teller, so there are still branches out there which can cater to your requirement. But this is also good because we have seen that with competition as well, diba, it can parang it has the parang it can the other institutions will also step up, diba? Will also step up, will also chart their own digitalization strategy as well. So, and we have seen this, diba? The big institutions are also now becoming more digital because of the entry of digital-only banks. And digital currencies gain traction. It has gained traction already, diba? Even as early as I think 2013, yung mga Bitcoin, Ethereum, the mainstream cryptocurrencies, and now nag-evolve pa siya. We have seen also stable coins and non-fungible NFT, non-fungible token. Now, those are privately issued currencies, or we call them virtual assets. But for the central bank, I think ang magiging direction is that more and more central banks will also consider issuing the digital version of our currency. And we have seen several pilots already, and the BSP is also set to start our own pilot on digital currency, but it's really more of for large value payment. I mean, payments among financial institutions, so that it's going to be a phased approach. We will not deal directly with the consumers. Again, on the downside, that's why I mean, my unit is also, aside from fostering innovation, we are also into cybersecurity risk management. Cybersecurity oversight and surveillance, because I mean, the cyber criminals are continuously evolving, and nakita naman natin, parang it has become a catch-up game, diba? It has become they are becoming more sophisticated, and these are malicious threat actors, not only organized criminals, but also yung iba state-sponsored attacks. So that's why importante nga that we also adopt a proactive stance when it comes to managing cybersecurity. What we are espousing right now is not just cybersecurity, but cyber resilience. So you have to develop a strategy wherein ang assumption mo is at some point in time you will be compromised, and your risk management process should be able to handle these cyber-related attacks. And lastly, I mean, this has become the challenge, at least for the unit in BSP in charge of innovation and risk management. Yung fostering fostering flexibility, innovation, and at the same time ensuring that the risks are properly managed. On the part of the BSP naman, we are committed to providing an enabling environment where, again, innovation, flexibility are being promoted, or they go hand in hand with caution and appropriate risk management. That ends my presentation. Thank you so much.